debate within. And when you make the final decision, then you want to move forward with a common goal. One of the joys, this has been going back about 10 or 15 years. Bob Doyle approached me, and I will not accept any other speaking engagement before this one. It's a great way for me to focus too. But one of the things I've liked doing over the years is sharing with you some of the things that happened. And next week's newspaper column will have a sort of a summary of 214 of some of the best things that happened to me. One of the items will be the best paranoid email. And when you hear this story, you'll understand it was on both ends. We get a lot of emails. And one of the frustrations is trying to detect who you're dealing with. And there was an issue going on. It wasn't actually really involved the city, but it was pretty evident to me these emails were coming from outside the city. So I got back to this one emailer and said, I'd like your contact information and your postal address. Fair request, right? So then he responds to me, why do you want my postal address? And I responded, because I want to verify who I'm dealing with. And then he responded, well, given that I don't know you, I don't think I will tell you where I live. That was one of the highlights of the year. Now the other one favorite, we get a lot of invitations. And I try to go to a lot of things, and I also try to delegate. But my favorite just came in last September, and Janice, my assistant, sent this memo to me. And there's an owner of a farm owner that has a corn maze every year. It's Crazy Corners or whatever. Okay. Anyhow, he emails us. It's the centennial year, and in celebration of the centennial year, he wants to have pig races. And he wants to name one of the pigs after me. Don't make this stuff up. And Janice asked me, do you have any objection? And I said, no, I've been called lots of names, a lot of biblical references, so I'm not concerned about that. But then she gets back to me that he's inviting me and a guest to the pig races, which are held every weekend starting in September. But because the pigs are still in training, it would be better if you came in October. So honestly, I don't know if the pig races took place or not. But it tells you what I deal with every day, right? And what you have to do is find the humor in what you do, right? You have to find the joy in well-intentioned things that do happen to you. Last year, 2014, was a year to celebrate 100 years of our history. And that was certainly a celebration. The group that put it together had a very common, clear goal. Let's have 2 or 3 major events, and let's have the community lead the rest of the celebration. And that's exactly what happened. And Dick was showing me here the Christmas card that we sent out this year, which was 10,000 plus people in downtown Sarnia celebrating and just having an incredible evening, all ages, and it was a great way to start the year. I'm very optimistic about this year. There are a number of factors why. One of them is I think the city's in very good financial shape. 10 years ago we had a debt of about $96 million. This year it'll be $20 million. And we did it the hard way, and that was by cutting and restricting spending. There are other places that are in good shape financially, but it's mainly because they have things like development charges that are bringing a lot of income, like Mississauga, up to a certain point, which has now changed, which now they're looking at significant tax increases. But the magic of the debt reduction, we were spending 13 cents on the dollar. We're now spending about 3 cents. And it's that difference between that we can use, and there's about 17 million we've used to reinvest in the community and the infrastructure you see throughout the community. So that's the benefit. There's got to be a benefit to this. And I want to talk about that a little bit further. That fiscal fitness program we put in place over a decade ago has worked very, very well. We've had tax increases, city, county, and education, all within the rate of inflation over the last 4 years. The tax rates actually dropped in the last 4 years, and we hope to continue that in the year ahead. And I expect this year, when the city and the county and education taxes come together, it will be about a 2% overall increase, which was within the rate of inflation. Because I do believe that it's important to reinvest in the community. You can take Marcel Sadi, many of you will recall Marcel, right? Marcel used to say to me when I was first on council, which was in 1985, it will be the 30th anniversary coming up this next December. You can take 9 people off the streets of Sarnia and you'll get the same decisions. And that wasn't being disrespectful to the current council or to me, to this council, but it's the truth. If I took 9 of you and put you in a room and gave you a couple of issues, we'd probably get the same decisions that this council would make. Because what you have is things that you must decide and you must do. So what I've learned over the years is a lot of wisdom outside of City Hall. And many of the ideas that I bring forward come from people outside the community. But I think it's important to understand that what the last couple of councils have done have been very important for the future of the community. We have a transportation plan for the next 20 years to guide the community, and we're moving forward on that. And Dick will be happy to hear it does include two-wheeled transportation. And that's important for the community. If you want a healthy community, you have to have a mixture of transportation uses. It means improving our bus service. We are a very auto-centric community. And the consultants actually said that to me. I may have mentioned that here before, that we're probably one of the most auto-centric communities in Ontario that they have studied. And that's probably partly because of our geography, being fair about that. So we're moving forward on the transportation plan. We have an official plan which will guide the growth of the community for the next 20 years. I'm a very strong proponent of protecting neighborhoods. I'm a very strong proponent of protecting that green belt on the east side of Moulton Road. We have 150 farms. We have a very diverse community. You know, you think, Lake Huron, we're the largest city on Lake Huron. We have the St. Clair River. We have a native reserve within our boundaries. And we have 150 farms. And we need to keep that balance in the community. It's something we should be very proud of. What I always tell the new councils is don't think about this council term. Think beyond that, because so many issues go beyond 4 years. You've got to look at the long term and the long game when you're dealing with issues. We've got some immediate issues you're all familiar with. We're dealing with the Salem Bayside Mall. The city owns the land, and that's our involvement in that particular issue. And it's going to take some creativity. And one of my messages to the new council is be bold, be visionary, and don't accept the status quo. Malls, by the way, are not working across North America. And this has been going on for some time. There has not been a new mall built in 10 years. And in fact, the New York Times had an excellent article on Sunday, which I sent out to council, pointing on the whole change and how people are not engaged in malls anymore. They're online shopping, they're going to big box stores, and we have to recognize that. Bayside will not be significant retail, but it can be medical uses, it could be a college use, it could be all sorts of other uses. And with the cooperation of the county, they've agreed to stay in their facility, which is a prime anchor and a prime cash flow tenant to help make that mall sell. So I hope we'll have some good news on that by May. If not, we'll have to be creative about the future of the mall. Sarnia General Hospital site. I brought it up because I knew you guys were right up, so I thought I'd head you off on this one. Disappointed that this has turned into letters being exchanged between the city and the hospital. I can remember being in this room 20 years ago, and year after year, you used to question me about, do you think we'll ever get a new hospital? Do you think we'll ever get a new hospital? I'm telling you, we will. And all the way through, we kept on supporting the hospital as a city. I recall bringing the motion to county council for $15 million, a levy on properties throughout the county. If I knew then what I know now, I would have brought that motion forward and said 10 for the new hospital, 5 for the old. But we were reassured through all those discussions by the hospital that we will decommission that site and decommission it so it's greenfield and we can do a development and see some good things happen there. I hope we can work that out because it's not the collaborative type of community that I've been trying to build over the last 10 years. Where you've got business and labor and First Nations and others working together. And this has been a disappointment, and I hope we can get back on track with that particular issue. And just in this room, a while back, there was a meeting with the neighbors here to talk about potential opportunities on that site with a development group. And it has a lot of challenges because it's predicated on a certain amount of commercial development coming to that site. So that they've got to work that through. But it's encouraging. Centennial Park, we are working on that. Those of you from industry, in environmental terms, we've worked in light years. If you think about when we were told about the problem almost 2 years ago, and the fact that we are now reconstructing the park, that's incredible. Because that's not the way it usually works. But we were determined to take the steps needed to cover it. Costly, yes. Necessary, yes. And you will see that park continue to develop over the next couple of years. And I want to come back to that park because one of the things when I said about being bold and being visionary is that talking about those 9 people you can take off the street. If I took them to the next council meeting, 75, 80% of what we do would be done, doesn't matter who's there.